Hi, Peter. Welcome to RealityCrowdTV. So tell me a little bit about yourself, your business ideas.
Sure. Yeah, I'm founder and chief visionary officer of Crowdfunding for All. We call it, or CF for All. That's our URL. And we're the crowd-powered project search and support network. It's a search engine, and it links together crowdfunding sites so that people will be able to find projects no matter where they are. It doesn't matter if they're on a well-known platform or on a little niche platform that nobody has ever heard about.
Well, awesome. Okay, so how do you see these search engines shaping crowdfunding in the future?
Well, right now, most people gravitate, to the handful of crowdfunding search, platforms that they're aware of. So they go to Kickstarter, they go to Indiegogo, maybe they know of Rocket Hub, maybe they know of another one, a small one that maybe a friend has a project on, but they don't really know where all the projects are. Nobody possibly could. There are thousands of them out there. So what we created was a way for people to search based on what their interests are, and it doesn't matter where what platform the project is on. We're going to give them a way to find it, as we say, to find it, fund it, smarter and faster. And right now, there aren't people necessarily flocking to search for crowdfunding projects because it's more about somebody sending them to a project that they heard about, that they want them to support. When we get into equity crowdfunding, we think that's all going to change because people aren't going to be, you won't be ready to settle for the first project that shows up in their area of interest. They're going to want to know, is this the best project right now in this area that I'm interested in investing in, and what else is like it that I should know about before I give them my money? Because in equity crowdfunding, at least for an unaccredited investor, they're limited to a certain amount of money that they can invest. So you're going to want to be pretty smart about that, and you're going to want to limit your risk. Everybody knows these are highly risky investments. These are pre-public companies. A lot of them are going to fail. So you want to make sure that you do as much research as you can. The due diligence process, in our mind, begins with the search process.
Exactly. Awesome. So how do you see equity crowdfunding, say, in the next 10 years? What do you think that's going to actually do to financial markets?
Well, I think it's going to change things a lot for small investors and even for the accredited investors. But small investors have been locked out of this for a long, long time. And the banks are paying practically nothing. In fact, there are even rumors that banks are going to start charging people to hold your money. So at some point, people are going to start getting comfortable, just like they got comfortable with e-commerce. And they're going to look around. They're going to say, you know what? I've got a certain amount of money in my IRA that I could play around with, and then you're going to be allowed to, whether or not use an IRA or just in your disposable, money that you have in, that savings. You might say, you know what, I'm going to take 5% or 10% and try to put it into the next big thing. I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm going to bet it. Everybody's telling me I got to spread it around, but if people think that biotech is an area and they study up on that and they start to see what companies have gone public and where if I got in early I would have made 100 times my money, or in the tech field, there are certain areas where you have scalable business models. And at the same time, so that's one way. You're going to get people looking at it, and then of course there's the local businesses, your local bakery that is being forced out because they're raising their rents, and now, I'll give them $100 and I'll get 50% off on my cookies for the rest of my life or something like that. So I mean, it goes really from one end to the other, and everywhere in between, and I think that. Hopefully this is the job, it's called the Jobs Act for a reason. It was supposed to stimulate jobs and create and bring money into these small businesses, create new businesses, let smaller ones grow. And so if the SEC doesn't create very onerous, guidelines here, and it allows this money to be inexpensively accessed, not what they're talking about now is it could cost somebody $30,000 to do a $100,000 raise under Title III. Well, that's insane. it's cheaper for them to raise $5 million, and not have to go through all the compliance work. So somewhere they've got to find a good balance. And once they find that balance and they realize that people aren't being scammed out of their money, that there will be failures, but they're not going to be any greater than they are now. In fact, my feeling is because of the compliance process that these companies have to go through, that they're going to weed out a lot of these people who really have no business taking other people's money and starting a business. You're going to start getting more serious players coming in, and as a result, I think that the failure rate probably won't be anywhere near as bad, and there'll be a whole industry of people guiding these first-time entrepreneurs. That's one of the things that we're going to be doing with Crowdfunding for All in our next iteration. Right now, we're focusing on the funders and bringing the funders, to crowdfunding, bringing the crowd to crowdfunding. But of course, and like everybody else, we're also going to be educating the entrepreneurs, and we have a team of some of the biggest names in the entrepreneurial world who are going to be working with us to bring that kind of education, not just how to raise the money, but what to do with it when you get it so that you're still in business 3 years from now and returning a profit.
Awesome. So it seems like a lot of people don't know about crowdfunding. So do you think there are any ways that people should start getting it out? Are there tactics that you believe that we should be doing in order to help people understand what this movement is about and why it's so important?
Well, yes, of course we should, and what you're doing is part of that. And then once Title III becomes, activated, if you will, and then becomes legal, the word's going to start getting out. In fact, Title VII of the Jobs Act, which is nobody even knows about this, including the guys who wrote the law. We were talking with them in Las Vegas via Skype, and we said, isn't the SEC, aren't you guys going to do anything to let people know about this new law? And the guy says, well, no, that's up to the project creators and up to the platforms. And then some lawyer stands up and says, oh no, Title VII, it's one paragraph long, but it says that the SEC has to educate people about what's happening. The guy says, really? It's interesting how the lawmakers don't read their own laws, But of course, it's going to be up to the industry. Crowdfunding for All is going to be doing a lot of that because we're going to be working with a lot of these thought leaders who are not experts in crowdfunding, but we're going to help introduce them to the crowdfunding world and help introduce them and their followers to crowdfunding. So it's a mutual meeting of the minds, if you will, mutual interest. So people who are interested in socially responsible, organizations, and maybe they give money to not-for-profits, they may be the first people who may say, no, this is great. I'm going to invest $100 into a socially responsible company. And I think that's one of the ways that this thing is going to take off, by putting together people of like minds and mutual interests and saying, now there's a way for you to help these companies and hopefully make a lot of money as a result.
All right, last question. Would you be interested in being an expert on RealityCrowdTV?
I thought I already am.
There you go. No, good answer.